Look at Tuesday morning, South Central. We've got a lot to talk about. Things may be quiet and sunny here, but not the same thing as you head out towards northwest Alaska, where we are seeing some blizzard conditions as well as some very strong winds. We've seen some reports of winds upwards of about 95 miles per hour. But as far as what we are dealing with, as you take a step outside, look up under these clear skies across South Central. We're woke up this morning to those temperatures sitting in the single digits and the teens, with those wind chills sitting down well below zero. Now, one thing we are going to be watching here over the next couple of hours is the return to those winds gradually dying down across South Central. So let's pull in what we are going to be talking about when it comes to the amount of winds that we have been seeing across parts of South Central that has been leading to some of those bitter cold wind chills. But you can see wind chills currently sitting at 4 below in Anchorage, 26 below in Fairbanks, 38 below in Anaktuvuk. Meanwhile, as you head out west, we've got those wind chills sitting anywhere from 14 below in Unalakleet to 21 here in Nome. Those winds, they've been gusting through the overnight hours, and they have been subsiding for a large portion of South Central. Peak winds topped out at around 70 miles per hour in Palmer, and winds are still quite gusty this mid-morning into the early afternoon, but they have greatly subsided for many areas. What we're dealing with is a ridge of high pressure as you head out towards western Alaska through the Bering, and then of course we've got a trough that is over southeastern parts of the Gulf of Alaska. Those two are interacting, leading to those gusty winds that we are seeing across South Central. But one additional thing we're dealing with on the periphery, the northern periphery of this ridge, is where we're seeing the greatest impacts in the form of some high winds. We've talking about some heavy snowfall and some whiteout conditions, where we are seeing those blizzard conditions for areas of western and parts of southwest Alaska. So notice we've got blizzard warnings, winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories. Those are extending all the way out towards the Yukon Delta, but the greatest impacts being felt across the northern Seward Peninsula, across the western Arctic coastline, and then as you head out towards the slope from Utqiagvik out towards Dead Horse. This is where we're not only going to see the potential for several inches of snowfall, but those winds remaining quite gusty, which will lead to several areas of blowing snow and whiteout conditions. In fact, at last check, Point Hope is seeing shelter in place due in large part to those gusty winds that have been quite extreme through the last several hours. And again, we have seen some of those stronger winds across northwestern parts of the state. So there is that ridge that we're seeing building in across the Bering Sea that is leading to that quieter conditions. But notice the periphery, the northern edge of that ridge, that is where we're seeing that storm that is riding into northwestern parts of the state as well as out towards the slope. And meanwhile, as you head towards South Central, we've got that northerly flow that has been leading to those gusty winds that we have been seeing, and those winds are steadily dying down as that ridge gradually shifts eastward. But of course, the main focus continues to be for areas through northwest Alaska. Notice those winds have been gusting upwards of 40 miles per hour in Nome, 53 mile per hour wind gust in Kotzebue, and then out towards Cape Lisburn, we've seen those winds up to 93 miles per hour. That is where we're seeing that blizzard conditions, as well as the potential for these blizzard conditions to continue well into your Wednesday. So whiteout conditions and several inches of snowfall to be expected. On average, we'll see about 1 to 10 inches of snow, with lower amounts as you head out towards the Yukon Delta, and then those higher amounts of 5 to 10 inches can be expected as you head out towards the northwestern parts of the Brooks Range and through northwestern parts of the state. So we're going to continue to see these winds remaining with us out towards western and northwestern parts of the state, and that will continue through the remainder of today, with that leading to the potential for some whiteout conditions as well as that heavy snowfall that we are seeing. So as we welcome in the remainder of today, notice again that general trend of the stormy system that we're seeing is riding the northern edge of that ridge. So we're going to see the greatest impact staying really north of the Brooks Range as we welcome in the close of today and into our Wednesday as well. Now, later Wednesday on into the afternoon hours, we'll begin to see a frontal system drape southward across the state, and that will lead to the potential for not only some areas of light snowfall as you head through the interior, but we're talking about the potential that we could see a glaze of freezing rain looking possible Wednesday into Thursday for parts of the interior. So we will be watching that here over the next couple of days, but of course the biggest concern continues to be for areas out towards northwestern parts of the state. You will see improving conditions by Wednesday evening on into Thursday, so it's really here over the next 24 hours where we're going to see the greatest concern in the form of those high winds and heavy snowfall for northwestern parts of the state. So looking at that snow total for forecast. You can see as we put that in motion, again, northwestern parts of the Brooks Range out towards the slope as you head towards Point Hope, Kotzebue. This is where we're going to see several inches of snow accumulation looking possible. Now, really, as you head east of the western Arctic coastline, this is where you're going to tap into that better potential for about 5 to 10 inches of that snowfall. But notice this upper level setup. Again, we're talking about that storm riding the northern edge of that ridge out towards the northwestern part of the state. Well, as that ridge continues to spread eastward across the state as a whole, it's going to lead to the tapering off of that snow, and those winds will gradually die down here over the next couple of days as that ridge begins to take hold across Alaska, leading to a fairly quiet weather that will stay with us for a good portion of mainland Alaska through the close of this week. But notice again that ridge to the northern extent of that ridge stays right along the slope. So we're going to continue to hold on to those breezy westerly winds for areas from Wainwright out towards Deadhorse and Prudhoe, and as well as Ukqiavik through the rest of this week on into the weekend. So be prepared for that shift in winds later today on into your Wednesday, and then we will continue to see some lowering visibility at times. But that ridge will again influence our weather for a large portion of the state here over the next couple of days. It will flatten somewhat by the end of the week. That's why we're going to be watching for continued snow chances for areas north of the Brooks Range. But as far as what we're going to see for today, the biggest concern continues to remain out towards northwestern parts of the state. Looking through the close of November, we are going to continue to see the interior out towards western Alaska and the slope, seeing that tilt towards wetter weather, while the southeastern parts of the state continues to hold on to that drying trend. Even here in South Central, we'll likely hold on to dry weather for at least the better part of the next week or so, although there is signs as we welcome in next week we'll begin to see some snow showers making a return to the region. Not going to be the case today. You can see those temperatures again remaining fairly chilly. We're going to stay in the teens across most locations for South Central, with a few areas in the valley as well as the Copper River Basin likely staying in the single digits. Into the interior, 4 below for the high today, 2 in McGrath. Notice for areas out west where we are seeing those winter storm warnings and blizzard conditions, temperatures are on the warmer side. That is that ridge that is nosing its way eastward across the state. It will bring the return to about 5 to 10 degrees warmer than what we've been dealing with when it comes to our temperatures. But that 37 in Nome, you're also expected to see parts of the Seward Peninsula where we could see a glaze of ice or freezing rain with this system as it continues to slowly move eastward across the state. We will see those conditions improving into the evening hours Wednesday. So really for about the next 24 hours is where we're going to see the greatest concern with that storm for northwestern parts of the state. Here across South Central, temperatures slowly warm. You can see by week's end, we're sitting in the mid to upper 20s. A few locations near the coast may climb above freezing, so we will be watching that. You can even see overnight lows improve back into the teens. So we do see a brief warming trend carrying us into the weekend and next week. Chance snow does make a return in the forecast by Monday of next week, so we'll be watching that. But for the time being, expect fairly quiet weather for South Central through a large portion of the interior, with sunshine sticking around. And again, tomorrow we are watching parts of the interior which could see some light snowfall, if not some freezing drizzle in the forecast. Of course, we'll have more on that coming up in the noon show as well as into the evening newscast, and as well as what impacts we're seeing for parts of northwest Alaska, which again, Point Hope seeing some of those biggest concerns with that heavy snowfall as well as high winds. And we've seen those winds through northwestern parts of the state anywhere from about 50 to 95 miles per hour. And again, those winds will stay with us through the remainder of today. But again, we'll have more coming up in the noon show as well as in the 4 and then the evening newscast. But for now, make sure you have a great Tuesday, and of course, make sure you stay safe out on those roadways as well.